everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of Mid-South Wrestling Television Network. I'm your host, Boyd Pierce, and we have a lot of excitement coming up. The Black Ninja is here on this week's card. Also, Ted DiBiase will be wrestling. A formidable tag team duo that I know you're going to like, one of the greatest ever to come to the Mid-South area, Mr. Wrestling 2, joining forces with Tiger Conway Jr. Also, Mr. Olympia returns, and he'll take on the rugged Matt Bourne. A lot of excitement, a lot of things to tell you about it, and the man to explain it, no one better than our guest commentator, Cowboy Bill Watts.
Well, thank you, Boyd. It's great to be here tonight, and I think the big news is welcome back, Mr. Olympia. The guy was a top star of Mid-South Wrestling, a great star. He sacrificed himself, so to speak, when Mr. Wrestling 2 was injured and took his place in a match with Stagger Lee and was a victim of the Rat Pack. But he's back, and he may give the Rat Pack their own pack attack. The big news again is March 21st, downtown New Orleans, will be a one-night tournament for the North American title. Stagger Lee's mysterious disappearance has caused the North American title for the first time in its history to be in limbo. And they're going to have a one-night tournament. A lot of big names already signing up for that. Tito Santana, that people watch out of Atlanta. Super Destroyer. Of course, Mr. Olympia has put his name in the hat. Many others. As it gets closer, we'll certainly have more top stars filling in. A great star, probably the greatest star ever in Mid-South. A man that's a lot of people get to see in the ring, don't often get to visit with it, but a very personable young man. I'm proud to call him a friend. The Junkyard Dog. You know, these guys have a tremendously busy schedule. We get a lot of letters at Mid-South asking that the dog and the different stars can drop by and visit them. I know we got a nice letter from a kindergarten teacher in LeCompte and different places. These guys' schedules are so busy, they'd like to have the time to do it. Well, the Junkyard Dog found time on February 10th to go to DeRidder and visit a school there. And when word got out in that town, they had Junkyard Dog Day, and I'll tell you, it was great. The mayor, Creighton Pugh, gave the dog the key to the city. Representative Eldridge Morris gave him the pelican, the state bird, on a lapel clip. The dog really enjoyed it, and the people enjoyed it, and thanks to Channel 7, that's KPLC at Channel 7 in Lake Charles, Louisiana. We have some of their file footage from their news. Let's watch that now.
The Junkyard Dog, one of the most popular wrestling figures in southwest Louisiana. The dog made a special appearance at Eastside Upper Elementary in DeRidder. Vicki Dixon, coordinator of the event, says the visit stressed to students the importance of education.
And let them know that even someone they admire, like a wrestler, has an education.
After walking through classrooms and signing autographs, he spoke to a group of special education students. The dog had a wrestling match in Mississippi Wednesday evening, and after the school visit, proceeds to Lake Charles, where another match is scheduled. Despite his busy agenda, he still tries to fit in school visits whenever possible.
And it's just more or less an everyday thing. A lot of times I get out and do this thing, you know. A lot of people don't never take the opportunity to go out and, you know, get fame and stuff, get very well known, and they forget about the way that they grew up. And a lot of times I like to go back in schools and visit.
Between matches, the Junkyard Dog says he will continue to spread the word that school and education are the most important things a child can experience. Robert White, 7 News, DeRidder.
Well, I'm sure everybody in DeRidder enjoyed the dog's visit. I know he enjoyed it. He was beaming when he came back. This is the kind of guy he is. He loves to help others. He loves children. And his schedule permitting, he makes these surprise visits. He and Jack Curtis, who you saw there with him. We'll be back with more action after these words from Mid-South. Mr. Wrestling 2 has been a top superstar for many years in professional wrestling. A man of pride, a man of mystery, a man that protects his identity, is proud of his spirit, his heart, his courage. But you know, I guess, Boyd, even little things that could seemingly in another setting be rather comical can be oftentimes very disconcerting or very sinister. Like, I guess, the Chinese water torture or the Russian water torture. You know, you think just about a faucet dripping, that shouldn't drive anybody crazy. But if you're isolated and that dripping's in the middle of your forehead, they've driven people completely crazy. Well, somebody has been putting this kind of pressure on Wrestling 2. And when we got here today, Oral Link had said when he arrived and was setting up the television cameras, there was another symbolical hanging of Mr. Wrestling 2. We'll look at that right now as Director Oral Link pre-taped some of it before all the fans got in. And this is a type of sinister situation that we're viewing right now that has been going on. And last December the 8th, it kind of came to a head. I think most people had thought that Kamala and Akbar were taking off masks for one reason and one reason only, to unmask Stagger Lee. But then it seemed that his exuberance for collecting those coups and putting on his spear overflowed, and he was going to get Mr. Wrestling 2's mask. And I think with the pressure, Wrestling 2 immediately thought that Skandar Akbar was the guy that was doing the different symbolical deformations of his wrestling gear. And it all boiled over and exploded on that December the 8th with a long-lasting effect, in that Wrestling 2 and Stagger Lee were scheduled to wrestle Matt Bourne and Ted DiBiase for the Mid-South Tag titles. Loser of the fall to leave town. Wrestling 2 was injured in the melee with Kamala, and Mr. Olympia had to take his place. Let's relive that moment because it's very important today.
Another respected, well-established wrestling star exploded on the scene in 1982 here on Mid-South. Mr. Wrestling 2, the masked man that knows no peer. But he's been on a slow boil because somebody has been symbolically defacing replica equipment, like a Wrestling 2 mask, making threats through the mail and things like that to Wrestling 2. It all came to a head when Wrestling 2 thought it was Skandar Akbar and his savage Kamala, who's been trained to unmask people. Let's watch that incident on December the 18th.
Stagger Lee, I would be Wrestling 2, Wrestling 2. I had to think that there's something. I know how upset Wrestling to look at him. Wrestling 2 is really reading Akbar the Riot Act about that mask. I know how upset he's been. All right, Wrestling 2 starts on Akbar. Mr. Wrestling 2, you better watch it. Here comes Kamala. Here comes Kamala. Wrestling 2 fires away on Kamala. He pops Kamala a knee. He pops him another knee. Wrestling 2, Wrestling 2. Knock Kamala clear out of the ring. Wrestling 2 has just slammed whoever he is off the top rope. And Wrestling 2 is going to do some unmasking. He's going to do some unmasking of his own. Akbar trying to pull the man out of the ring. It looks like Wrestling 2 is struggling with that. Kamala's going off the top rope. Wrestling 2 doesn't see him. 385 pounds drops on Wrestling 2. Now Kamala is going for Wrestling 2's mask. Wrestling 2 is helpless. He's inert. He's laying there. Kamala is about to unmask Wrestling 2. What nobody in the history of wrestling's done. Here comes Olympia and Stagger Lee, two more masked men. And they're in there to help Wrestling 2. And they're after Akbar and everybody. One thing about it, nobody likes Akbar. Kamala goes to pick up his manager, his second, his man Friday, and help him off. But Wrestling 2 is laying there. It looks like he could be badly injured.
Mr. Wrestling 2, a man who goes into a rage when somebody touches his mask or his personal belongings, proved right there that left alone, he could possibly be the man who would stop the onslaught of the giant Kamala. However, he had more to deal with than that, and he was hurt. And that injury stopped him from a meeting of destiny. He and Stagger Lee were to wrestle DiBiase and Bourne for the Mid-South Tag Team title. One fall, no disqualification, with the loser of the fall having to leave Mid-South, just as the Junkyard Dog and Mr. Olympia had to do that on October 27th. Stagger Lee got Mr. Olympia to fill in on December the 18th as Wrestling 2's partner. Let's join the final moments when once again the last laugh was had by the Rat Pack.
Tag, Stagger Lee. Well, I can't tell if he tagged or not. I don't know who's the legal man. I can't tell who the legal man in the ring is. I guess it's still Mr. Olympia. Ralph Neely never did call a tag. Mr. Olympia's got the sleeper. Tony Bourne, Matt Bourne going up to come off the top rope. Stagger Lee slams him off the top rope. He stabs him off the top rope. He's going out after him. Hacksaw Dugan comes. Hacksaw Dugan came with that hat on. Ted DiBiase fired him back. Stagger Lee went to try to save him. Matt Bourne stopped him. Mr. Olympia gets defeated. Mr. Olympia will have to leave Mid-South for 90 days. He will have to leave Mid-South for 90 days. The Mid-South champions are still Ted DiBiase and Matt Bourne. a very dejected Stagger Lee and a badly stunned Mr. Olympia.
And we'll be back.
No disqualification is a license for getting away with just about whatever you want to. Mr. Olympia will have to leave Mid-South for 90 days.
Well, Mr. Olympia's time is up, and he's back. He comes back today. He's a former Mississippi heavyweight champion, former one-half of the Mid-South Tag Team Championships. As a matter of fact, when Mike George was injured, it seemed like being the partner of the Junkyard Dog, you had a short history. It seemed like you became a marked man. Dick Murdoch had just been injured and sent to Japan, and he'd been the Dog's partner. And Mr. Olympia came, put out his hand, and said, I'll be your partner to the bitter end. And he was. And even when the Dog was gone and Stagger Lee was here, when Mr. Wrestling 2 got hurt, he showed the kind of heart he had. He went out and took Mr. Wrestling's 2 place. It cost him a vacation, a hard, unearning vacation. But he's back. We'll see him later after these words from Mid-South Wrestling.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kendo Nagasaki, the Black Ninja. There, Barbara, is the mysterious face of Kendo Nagasaki in the specialized uniform that those who have ever traveled to the Far East, to the Orient, would recognize as the uniform of the Kendo warrior. You see the war plates about his chest, you see the specialized plate across his face, you see the Kendo stick, but don't for 1 second doubt that Kendo Nagasaki is specialized only in the art of Kendo. He is proficient in Jiu-Jitsu, he is proficient in Judo, he is proficient in Karate, he is proficient in Taekwondo, every type of martial arts known to man. This man has at one point in his life specialized. Now you mentioned that Kendo, all of the Oriental arts, Jiu-Jitsu, Judo, Karate, are all primarily defensive, and that is what makes the Black Ninja unique, because Kendo Nagasaki, so proficient in each and every form of these arts, is the first man, to my knowledge, anywhere in the world whose mental attitude was shaped that it was no longer a defensive procedure but became an offensive procedure. And as a result, this man had stripped from him his high degree of black belt in karate. He had stripped from him his high degree in judo. He was thrown from the sumo stables and not allowed to come back and perform because of the people that he hurt. He entered the world of professional wrestling. He has been to Europe. He is barred from Europe. He is barred from England. He is barred from many places in the world. He's the most devastating thing that I have ever seen.
This event, a 10-minute time limit. Introducing from the Far East, Kendo Nagasaki, the Black Ninja. His opponent, Jerry Caldwell.
Ring announcer Jack Curtis Jr. substituting for Reeser Bowden, who's on a well-earned vacation, with the introduction of the match, Kendo Nagasaki, the Black Ninja, versus the man who now taking off his silver jacket, Jerry Caldwell. Bill?
Well, we see the ceremonial pre-match activity of the Black Ninja, a man who came in here to Mid-South a couple of weeks ago with an advance warning to the Junkyard Dog. Somebody sent it. We don't know who controls him. We don't know the whole basis of it, but he's come in. He came out of the cloud of smoke riding a motorcycle, a martial arts man. He devastated the following week an opponent. This is his third week here, but he issued a martial arts type warning to the Junkyard Dog, and his name is one of the names that has already been entered in the big tournament March the 21st for the North American title, the one-night tournament. So it could very well be that he's biding his time until that date, and everything will be revealed. That, by the way, he is not a bald-headed man as that looks. That hair is shaven. That is a ceremonial, religious type situation in the Orient, and everything is symbolic. He is extremely quick on his feet. There you see he takes Jerry Caldwell. He catches him with that kick. Backhand chop. Snap there. His face is painted a garish, symbolic paint situation. These arts and rituals and traditions are so old in the Orient. They are very serious. Kendo Nagasaki into the nerve claw. Ted DiBiase coming up next in a new tag team combination, Mr. Wrestling 2 and Tiger Conway Jr. And then Mr. Olympia will meet one of his must-be nemesis, Matt Bourne, a member of the Rat Pack, in his first match back here on television. Mr. Olympia versus Matt Bourne. Man made short work of him.
The Black Ninja, the winner over Jerry Caldwell. More action coming up after this message from Mid-South Wrestling Television Network.
This event, a 10-minute time limit. From Omaha, Ted DiBiase. His opponent, Ron Ellis.
One fall or 10-minute time limit. Newcomer Ron Ellis taking on Ted DiBiase. As Rick Ferreira clears the ring with the instructions, calls for the bell. Here's Bill Watts.
Well, I don't know where matchmaker Grizzly Smith finds some of these guys, but you've got to give them a chance. You know, there's been some occasions here, Boyd Pierce, when you and I have been watching, that there's been a relative newcomer that's come over seemingly to be fed to the lions, so to speak, that has exploded and caught everybody's attention. And it often seems like these men are outgunned and outmanned, and on appearances, I don't think this guy can hold up to DiBiase, as could Caldwell not hold up to the Black Ninja. But you never know when you're going to find that diamond in the rough. And speaking of diamond in the rough, Don Diamond was one of those situations that we had here a couple of years ago that really exploded on TV. Of course, Tiger Conway Jr. came over, and he'd kind of been out of the mainstream of wrestling, and he said that he's really been excited about what's been happening in wrestling all over the Mid-South area and Houston, now that Mid-South is in Houston. And he decided that if you're going to be in it, you got to go full gear, and you better be ready, or else, he said, it's so tough now, the competition, they'll just stuff you out in the preliminaries. And he's gotten geared out, and he came over here and made some big-time challenges. First match was against Hacksaw Dugan. The next one against Kamala, and then Hacksaw went in and got into that. So Tiger's right into the middle of the boiling pot. Ron Ellis against Ted DiBiase. And DiBiase, a very controversial man. Whatever you think of him, he is right up on top as one of the big stars in Mid-South Wrestling. Ted DiBiase, a man that was one time a Rookie of the Year himself here in the Mid-South area. The Superdome, April 16th, is the next Saturday night Superdome. The 3 big Superdomes a year make plans. That's an extravaganza no one wants to miss. Ted DiBiase measuring Ron Ellis. Very confidently stalking his man. Power slam. DiBiase does that so well. Man's a great athlete. Football star at West Texas State University. His father was a great wrestler before him. Figure 4 leg lock.
He locked it in on him, Bill, and gains a victory over Ron Ellis. That's Ted DiBiase. We'll be back. Tag team action, Mr. Wrestling 2 and Tiger Conway Jr. after this message from Mid-South.
This event, a 4-man tag team bout, a 10-minute time limit. Introducing Ron Kessler and Kelly Kaniski. Their opponents, Tiger Conway Jr. and Mr. Wrestling number 2.
Tag team action now as Ron Kessler in the black and red and his partner from Vancouver, British Columbia, Kelly Kaniski, take on the popular duo of Mr. Wrestling 2 and Tiger Conway Jr. Alfred Neely, the referee, saying, let me have one man from each team to get the match underway. Calls for the bell.
And as ring announcer Jack Curtis just got out, Jack's very proud. His mother and father just had their 50th wedding anniversary. Of course, his father was a great wrestler in his day with his with Jack's uncle, George Curtis. A lot of these guys come from wrestling families. As you're looking out there, there's two of them. Tiger Conway Jr., his father was a great in the South Texas area, and Kelly Kaniski, whose father was the world's champion, Big Thunder from Canada, one of Canada's greatest all-time athletes. And Kelly starting out the hard way, just like they all do. Just because your dad's got a big name, it doesn't do anything for you in the ring. And you can see he's in a lot of trouble right now, facing two rugged customers as his partner looks on. In 3 weeks, Boyd, we're going to have midgets. Crowd favorite. The kids will be looking forward to that. 3 weeks from today here on Mid-South Wrestling. Next week, this team right here, Tiger Conway and Mr. Wrestling 2, will face Ted DiBiase and Matt Bourne in the non-title match. In 2 weeks, the Masked Super Destroyer from Atlanta will be here live. Also, King Kong Bundy from Dallas and Killer Brooks. Lots of big names heading this way. A lot of things getting ready to happen. Anytime it gets close to Superdome time, Boyd, it seems like things get to happen. It's just been kind of traditional. A lot of things come out of the woodwork. Mr. Wrestling 2 stalks his man in that inimitable style of his. The crowd starts going 2, 2, 2. He's getting a slow boil, I'll tell you. It's really starting to stick in his craw, these things, these challenges. He considers them so cowardly. This man who's never dodged any issue. He's never been one that lets you worry about what he felt. He'd tell you right up front, I want you to know. He'd tell you whether he liked you or didn't like you. And he'd tell you if he's going to battle you. There was never anything deceptive or sneaky about him. And I think this guerrilla-type warfare, this subversive, terrorist-type activity against Wrestling 2, it is the most despicable kind of thing. It's the unknown, or the fear imposed by what kind of nut it is that's doing it. And 2 has offered rewards. He's done many things to try to smoke him out, but so far it's still quite a mystery. He thought he had found the answer when he attacked Skandar Akbar. It almost cost him some severe pain and agony when Kamala got geared back in on him. And Wrestling 2 is not through with the Kamala situation, but apparently as devious in this flat ornery and involved in everything as Skandar Akbar was. It's not Skandar Akbar that's doing this to Wrestling 2. Akbar kind of, even with his rottenness and everything, he more or less buys people to do his bidding. But you pretty well know pretty quick and out front whether he's after on your trail or not. Tiger Conway showing those high-flying moves. Great ability, this young man. Another superstar is on its way to Mid-South Wrestling. Hacksaw Bruce Reed. And we had an explosion when we were talking about that, Grizzly Smith and I, when one Hacksaw Dugan said there is only one Hacksaw in Mid-South Wrestling, and there will be only one Hacksaw in Mid-South Wrestling, and you're looking at him. And so I just don't know. That could be an explosion the minute it happens. Front face lock by Wrestling 2. A man who's known for his tenaciousness when he gets a hold of a guy. First we've seen in here of Ron Kessler. And he met Wrestling 2 up close and in person the hard way. And Ron Kessler wisely tried to hold on those ropes because he saw 2 was just laying in wait for him. But Wrestling 2 just adjusts as he's so apt to do, and he tagged in his partner. And Ron Kessler just gets an introduction to Mid-South Wrestling from Tiger Conway Jr. as Kelly Kaniski looks on. Oh, they're putting the forearms to him. Oh, look at the power of Tiger Conway Jr. These men have so much power today. It's just awesome to see. Kelly Kaniski coming in. Tiger Conway caught him with a drop kick, shows that mobility. And Wrestling 2, his team partner, the man that'll always back you up, comes right in. Now Kelly is out on the floor. Tiger Conway picks up Ron Kessler. Short body slam. Another short body slam. Set through move, landing on his head. And there you have the fall.
I told you that you'd like Mr. Wrestling 2 and Tiger Conway Jr. proving their formidable tag team. We'll be back. Mr. Olympia versus Matt Bourne after this message from Mid-South Wrestling.
This event carries a 10-minute time limit. Introducing Matt Bourne. And ladies and gentlemen, returning to Mid-South, one of Mid-South's most popular stars, Mr. Olympia.
The introduction, there's the man with a hat in the ring, gray trunks, gray hat, the rugged Matt Bourne against the popular Mr. Olympia, making his return. Rick Ferreira calls for the bell. Bill Watts with the commentary.
Sparks are flying right there, you can be sure of that. Let me tell you, nobody likes those unpaid vacations. Now, Mr. Olympia was sitting on top of the world. He and the Junkyard Dog, an inseparable team, and so quickly his world had kind of gone right into the outhouse, so to speak, and it all seemed to happen with the Rat Pack, as they laughingly call a pack attack. And Mr. Olympia certainly looks like he's maintained his condition and his physique in the gymnasium, Boyd Pierce. While he's gone, what will be the telling story is if he's kept his wind up by a hard running, because when you're straining like these two men are straining out there, every ounce and every fiber of your strength, it really takes that conditioning. Ricky Ferrara trying to maintain order. He's trying to get on top of this match before it all breaks down. I think this is one of those situations that's going to be awful hard to keep in check. These referees have a thankless job. They got both opponents out there always a little bit disgruntled with them. And if they're calling something against the crowd favorite, the crowd is not on their side. Matt Bourne on the break. The left-handed southpaw Matt Bourne fires on Mr. Olympia on the break as he went for another one. Mr. Olympia elevated him. He really got under him. Drop kick. Arm drag. Mr. Olympia doesn't look like he's lost any of his quickness, does he, Boyd?
Not a bit, Bill, and he's come back. Like you said, he's been on an unpaid vacation, but he's coming back trying to gain more money. Has a victory here. A great showing will propel him on up to the main events that he's used to.
And he's another man that's entered that North American title tournament, one-night tournament in New Orleans on March 21st. And whoever comes out as the victor of that puts himself right in the limelight of money and prestige, but right in the middle of a hot spot as far as action goes. Tremendous quickness, Mr. Olympia. He's a good athlete. He's in there against a good athlete. Matt Bourne, a very cocky individual, an upbeat, low-key type member of the Rat Pack. Everybody remember that infamous day that Matt Bourne arrived when the Hacksaw Dugan had been detained, and they made fools of everybody, myself included. Even Paul Bosch, that venerable promoter who's seen about everything in wrestling from Houston, was here, and we were all taken in. Tony Atlas was so taken in, he'd gone out in the crowd and accepted a balloon from the gorilla from the Midway. This was during the state fair here in Shreveport, and everybody just thought it was one of the barkers from the Midway inviting the kids to stick around after it, and he got excited and was watching the matches. He was giving away balloons, covered head to toe in a gorilla suit, when it turned out to be Hacksaw Dugan. But Matt Bourne had been flown in by DiBiase, and they won the Mid-South Tag Team titles and caused the Junkyard Dog to get a 90-day vacation. Then they caused Mr. Olympia to get a vacation. So the Rat Pack is certainly a formidable group. I thought I detected a little chink in their armor when Hacksaw Dugan got a little upset with DiBiase on a situation, thinking maybe DiBiase had enlisted the aid of Skandar Akbar. Dugan's got a lot of pride, and he doesn't want any truck with Akbar and his Iranian oil interests, or his, especially after Akbar at one time had the Iron Sheik under his contractual employment, the man who was the Khomeini's bodyguard. And speaking of the Iron Sheik, next week, right here on TV, we'll have a match from Houston, Texas, of the Iron Sheik versus one Mr. Wrestling 2. We'll also have Tony Atlas against Hacksaw Dugan next week here on TV. Chavo Guerrero will be here. Mr. Olympia, feeling the pain. You know, people often ask me, Boyd, if I don't miss it out there. I'll tell you what, I don't miss the pain. And when a man like that gets it and he's hurt like that, people say, well, you body slammed him, but you know how to fall, so it doesn't hurt you. Let me tell you, when you come down from 6 foot in the air, it hurts. Ted DiBiase out there cheering Matt Bourne on. The crowd taking up the chant, Teddy Sue, Teddy Sue. And Matt Bourne seemingly really pouring it on Mr. Olympia. You know, each night, in order to sleep, I have to get my shoulders just a certain way from all the ligament damage in the shoulders, and of course the knees. Anytime there's a change in the weather, and the ankles. You look at Ernie Ladd, 11 knee operations. It's definitely for the youth. Mr. Olympia fighting to stay in there. He knows the Rat Pack would like to spoil his debut in a big way, but the crowd is calling for him. The crowd is behind him 100%. He and Matt Bourne, he went for the body slam, but his back was still in spasms, and he was unable to lift Matt Bourne. Matt Bourne, knowing it, is attacking it as a smart tactician will do it. He'll certainly always be on the injured point. There, body slam again. Everything is over the injury that he sustained there. Matt Bourne goes up for that illegal, bombs away. Let's see what Ricky Ferrara says. Ricky Ferrara's warning him. So Matt Bourne steps to the second rope, which is illegal, but just as devastating. You cannot come off the top rope. Oh! Oh! Whoa! Matt Bourne won't be feeling too well after that, I don't believe. And Matt Bourne out to check with Ted DiBiase, and DiBiase trying to get him some time. I'll tell you right now, Matt Bourne he is in a lot of pain, and he's trying just to get anything to re-gear himself and re-coordinate. And DiBiase is giving him moral support out there, and they've certainly known, those members of the Rat Pack have been known to give more than moral support. The Junkyard Dog not here today, who is probably the closest friend of Mr. Olympia. So Mr. Olympia is on his own. DiBiase making a trip right there. You just saw Ricky Ferrara. They're still right on going. They're right on going. Oh! The two in the ring just haven't got it settled. Ricky Ferrara's called for the fall. And Ricky Ferrara, since they kept on, he dropped right on down, and he counted it. He said, if you all want to keep on going, keep on going. And DiBiase just got drop kicked right out of the ring, and Mr. Olympia proves he's back in Mid-South. And listen to that crowd.
A tremendous ovation for Mr. Olympia. We still have time. We'll have more action after these words from Mid-South Wrestling Television Network.
This event, one fall, TV time remaining. Introducing from Georgia, Marty Lundy. And from Knoxville, Tennessee, Tim Horner.
Knoxville, Tennessee's Tim Horner in the maroon jacket and tights against Rome, Georgia's Pride and Joy in the black trunks, Marty Lundy. Alfred Neely calls for the bell. A battle between two youngsters who realize the victory here would greatly enhance their chances in arenas all over the Mid-South area.
Well, that's right, Boyd. And, of course, that was a great victory for Mr. Olympia. Ricky Ferrara had caught Ted DiBiase, had rung the bell for the disqualification. But when neither man stopped, I guess Ricky just got gathered up with the emotion of that young man coming back and outdoing the two Rat Pack members, and he went ahead and put the victory down as he counted down the shoulders of Matt Bourne when their plans and their evil intent backfired on him. It was great to see the crowd give him Mr. Olympia a standing ovation and welcoming him back. This is one fall of television time remaining. Here's two youngsters that both have bright futures. Tim Horner, who is a fine little athlete, and Marty Lundy, who has certainly improved. He's a big, rugged guy, very powerful guy. Does 600-pound squat in the gymnasium. Mid-South Wrestling. Off the top rope that Matt Bourne attempted is illegal. You cannot jump off the top rope onto your man. You can come off the second turnbuckle. You cannot run your man's head into the steel post. These are automatic disqualifications. If you intentionally throw your opponent over the top rope, that is a disqualification. That's a judgment call by the referee. In that if you drop kick him and he goes over or something like that, that's not intentionally throwing him over. So oftentimes you'll have decisions that have to be made at split-second level by the referee in the ring because it has to be intentionally, your intent has to be. You have a 10 count to get back in the ring on the floor. I know in Houston, Texas, for years they had a 20 count, but Mid-South, 10 count on the floor if you're out on the floor to get back in the ring, and that's what is now enforced in Houston. You have to break on the count of 4. The referee calls for a break. Smart guys can use that to their advantage. They'll break real quick and re-secure the same hold. On the ropes, you got a 4 count to break. Marty Lundy, Tim Horner, 2 youngsters that have really started improving. A lot of great action. Midgets in 3 weeks. Next week, Mr. Wrestling 2 and Tiger Conway against Ted DiBiase and Matt Bourne. In 2 weeks, the Super Destroyer from Atlanta, King Kong Bundy, Killer Brooks. 3 minutes of airtime left right now as these 2 young men try to enhance their reputation in front of you fans at home and the promoters that watch Mid-South Wrestling. Victories on television are very important to these youngsters. I think it's a great tribute to matchmaker Grizzly Smith to give these 2 men an opportunity to show their skills against each other. This is where they perfected. They've gone up against guys that have outclassed them in skill and strength level and experience. Now we have 2 that are about at the same experience level with each other, a more evenly matched event. These are the superstars of tomorrow. Like I say, we saw Ted DiBiase be the Rookie of the Year, his first year in professional wrestling right here in the Mid-South area. We saw the Junkyard Dog come through, and before he had become the Junkyard Dog, and he had a tremendous streak of events in Mid-South, and they were all losers. And look how he has developed by perseverance and staying with it. Less than 2 minutes airtime left. These guys are going to have to hustle, trying to take that victory home, and Marty Lundy's really got Tim Horner in a lot of trouble. There he goes for the fall with a single leg cradle type maneuver. Didn't get it. Whoa, Tim Horner's going so fast you need air brakes, and he got Marty Lundy, caught him just with sheer speed. But Lundy powered out. He's gotten to be a powerful young man. He's really been in the gymnasium, really working hard on his strength. It's a very important thing. A lot of times you can get out of a lot of trouble when you got that overpowering strength. Still, you can be overconfident, like right there, and think you're going to drop it. That guy's not going to sit there if he can move in less than a minute, Boyd Pierce. These 2 on a television time limit remaining bout, going right down to the wire. We could have a victory at any second, Boyd. I know as has happened in the past, you'll stay with it as long as you can, trying to give these kids an opportunity for one of them to gain a victory.
Right down to the end we'll stay, Bill, as we saw this week.
Looks like right there. 2 count. No, he's out.
The Junkyard Dog as he visited DeRidder for the Junkyard Dog Day. The return of Mr. Olympia. Our time is just about gone. Remember, next week, the big tag team match, Wrestling 2 and Tiger Conway Jr. versus Ted DiBiase and Matt Bourne. For our guest commentator who did another tremendous job, Cowboy Bill Watts, I'm your host, Boyd Pierce, saying goodbye, everybody, as our time is running out here on Mid-South Wrestling Television Network. Hello, wrestling fans. Welcome to this week's edition of Mid-South Wrestling Television Network. I'm your host, Boyd Pierce. We have a lot of exciting action. This week's card will be headlined by an outstanding tag team match. The Mid-South Tag Team Champions, Matt Bourne and Ted DiBiase, in the ring against the terrific twosome of Tiger Conway Jr. and Mr. Wrestling 2 in a non-title match. The Black Ninja is here, also Mr. Olympia ready for action. We have a lot of excitement, a lot of things that have happened in the past, and to tell you about it, our guest commentator, Cowboy Bill Watts.
Well, Boyd, it should be an exciting evening. Like you said, that tag match should be a really great one, and Mr. Olympia back. He made such a great debut returning to Mid-South after an enforced vacation. And Houston, Texas, lots of action. They've got a great promoter there, Paul Bosch. He's was a top-notch wrestler in his day. He's been a great philanthropist as well as promoter in Houston, and lots of action there. And February the 11th, there was a match between Mr. Wrestling 2 and the Iron Sheik, the man who brags about being the Khomeini's bodyguard. Well, I'll tell you, it didn't impress Wrestling 2. He treated the Iron Sheik like he had a relative that was one of those people that was kidnapped and held for 444 days. Let's join the final moments of that in Houston, Texas.
So the man from Iran comes to that. There again, he come around there with that swift and penetrating blow. A good one. There's the knee lift that that the Wrestling 2 is going to add to the arsenal of the Junkyard Dog when they go after the tag team title of Mid-South. That's the way you feel when that lays in there. Yes, a lot of people have tried to use knee lifts, but it is the manner that Wrestling 2 uses it. It is the employment of the timing, the exact timing to get the force of the knee lift to hit him at exactly the right moment when it's at the peak of its power. And a rip across the masked face. You see him now using the edge of that hand, which has become a universal way of delivering blows and is employed by most of the countries in the world. Whether it's effective for all men or against all men remains to be seen. It's just another way of delivering a punishing blow. 10 minutes have gone by and 2 is catching it. And as the Sheik comes in, there he goes, driving that toe up into the throat of Wrestling 2, and I would say that he can't drive that toe up there without having one of those hooks catch something about his opponent. So the Sheik does the pounding. Now listen to the hooting sound of 2-2-2. They are calling on their idol, and this is what he is to them, to bounce back against the Iron Sheik. That was close, but he squirmed, literally squirmed out from underneath and was ready with the knee lift. And 2, when he gets mad, can deliver a lot of effective blows. And oh, what a crash landing. He used the front headlock and turned him over, but he couldn't hold him there. Now that was a questionable blow, and here is the Sheik with his lift and suplex, and then behind goes 2. He started to roll him up, but he never quite made it. And here is the Iranian came down with a crash that time. A switch. Oh, how he drove that knee there. There it is. Wrestling number 2 comes in there to score a win.
Now you see why nobody really looks forward to facing Mr. Wrestling 2, a tenacious, a tough man, because he just beat a man that's a tough man, Iron Sheik, who's been giving Captain Redneck Dick Murdoch all he wants up there in Atlanta. He came to Houston and tried Wrestling 2, and he got beat. And now we'll go on to bigger and better things, we hope, as we go to Jack Curtis later after these words from Mid-South Wrestling.
This event, 1 fall or 10 minutes. Introducing from the Far East, the Black Ninja. His opponent, Ron Ellis.
The introduction of the event, 1 fall or 10-minute time limit. The Black Ninja, Kendo Nagasaki versus the purple trunk-clad Ron Ellis. As you see Rick Pereira move Ellis back out of the way as Kenja goes through the ceremonial dance, Bill.
reminds me somewhat of a sumo type maneuver with the feet work, and then of course with that kendo stick, which is what they used to practice the ancient art of samurai sword fighting with. But those kendo sticks, when you say practice the art of sword fighting, they can be very devastating. There are multi-layers of bamboo, and you see they have to wear tremendous padding that he's disrobing from now, even when they practice the kendo arts. And these are ancient things, very ceremonial, very ritualistic. This man has challenged, apparently, the Junkyard Dog, who again today is not here at Mid-South Wrestling. The dog will be here next week. Kendo Nagasaki, the Black Ninja, as ring announcer Jack Curtis so aptly put it. Kendo Nagasaki doesn't waste any time to hammering Ron Ellis. I'll tell you, when you a rookie, it must be with a lot of butterflies in the pit of your stomach when you got to face something like this. And he just got those butterflies even shocked right then as Kendo Nagasaki hit him with a thrust kick. It's into the nerve claw behind the trapezes. That face painted, and of course he's not bald-headed there. That looks like that. That is a ritualistic hair style that's of the people that are in the art of the ninja. Very secretive sect. Known for stealth. Kendo Nagasaki, who has martially challenged the Junkyard Dog, and it's just like waiting for a volcano to explode as to when these two are going to meet and what's going to be the outcome. Shows some fine wrestling ability right there. That's a very neat Greco-Roman type maneuver. The ninja are more accomplished in all facets of the martial arts. They've gone into some black arts even. Look at that chop. He's leveling Ron Ellis. Very confident man. Very powerful built man. Good size for an Oriental. That's the end of Ron Ellis.
The Black Ninja, Kendo Nagasaki.
Did you notice Skandar Akbar out there watching? Boy, I just caught that out of the corner of my eye. I wonder if he could have some, or be looking to gain some control of this man. You know, Akbar's seen him and maybe been impressed. We don't know yet who calls this guy's shots.
And he not only watched it, but when his hand raised in victory, Akbar was applauding. We'll be back after this word from Mid-South Wrestling. Wrestling fans, here with me at the television table, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, who wanted to sit here. He's not on this week's card, and he wanted to match.
I want to show some of these people.
You can show the fans, but first we're going to show them a match here on December the 8th, 1982, when you, Hacksaw Duggan, wrestled the top Mexican star, Chavo Guerrero.
Yeah, that figures. That's Chavo Guerrero. That's that Mexican type of way to do things. He's going to use that for a vehicle to promote himself for as long as he can. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you a little story behind the scenes. Hacksaw Duggan flew all night that night because I was caught in a snowstorm up north. I come in here, Chavo Guerrero, that little gnat, he's been so proud of himself with this tape. He's showing it around to all his relatives. He's got so many, just like a little cockroach that he is. He's all over the place. He's a little wet behind the ears, too, if you know what I mean.
All right.
Let me tell you something, Boyd Pierce. Let me tell you something, Boyd Pierce. He's using this excuse. He never beat me in this tape. You watch this monitor right here, and you watch what beat Hacksaw Duggan. That wasn't Chavo Guerrero. That was a ring post.
Let's watch the match right now and decide for ourselves.
It looks like he's seriously into this competition now, that he really wants to start taking Chavo apart. Tremendous forearm, shades of Dory Funk Jr. Quick, tremendous forearm. You see the explosion, the complete body movement he gets into it, the follow through. He drives it in with all 235 pounds. But Hacksaw Duggan fires right back. And you see the difference, about 40 pounds of difference and about 6 or 8 inches in height. Hacksaw driving the knees in, and that's where he got that name, Hacksaw Duggan. He's like a hacksaw. He just doesn't stop. He keeps coming. But Chavo gets out of the way, and Duggan still hasn't been able to measure Chavo with a 3 count. And that's what it's all about. Until you put him down or put him out, the match is not over. And Chavo is attacking those knees. He's kicking at Duggan's leg right in the hamstring. I'll guarantee you that hamstring starts contracting and cramping up. Dugan loses his wheels. I don't give a darn how big you are. If you can't move and can't go, you're not going to beat anybody. Andre the Giant, 7'4", 485. When Killer Khan cracked his ankle, he was out for 5 weeks, and it was a long, painful road back. And Chavo is going for Dugan's wheels. He knows that no matter how big you are, you can't go if you can't motor. Of course, Dugan is fighting a battle of the Alamo right there, it looks like, because he's trying to fight Chavo off. He realizes that Chavo knows, and the Achilles tendon of any athlete is his legs. Chavo shows some infighting there, some real street fighting with quick, short elbows. Now they're matching it toe-to-toe, and Chavo's not backing down, and they use that quickness to sneak those quick, short shots to keep Dugan just a little off balance, to keep goading him like a bull in an arena, to keep him really mad. And now he uncorks an uppercut, and he brings Hacksaw Dugan to his knees. Chavo Guerrero out there, walking tall. The Rat Pack may not be so close. I think they, like Dugan, had overestimated this situation. Dugan going for the spear. Chavo got out of the way, and Dugan ran his head into that steel turnbuckle, and Chavo sunset flip. 1, 2, 3. Chavo Guerrero. David just slew Goliath right here on TV.
Chavo's happy, and the fans are happy.
Oh man, Boyd Pierce, I don't think the Rat Pack was prepared for this, or else DiBiase and Bourne would have been out there close to try to help Dugan. And Chavo, and Dugan's head is split wide open from hitting that steel turnbuckle. He is really mad. Look at him. His head is split wide open. He hit that steel turnbuckle, and Chavo jumped up out of the way, and it scattered his brains for a minute, and Chavo got the free.
That figures, that's just what I mean. He's going to use that tape as long as he can. He's going to go around bragging how he beat Hacksaw Duggan. Well, you people saw, and you saw yourself, Boyd Pierce, and everybody knows that Hacksaw Duggan didn't get beat by no Nat Chavo Guerrero. Hacksaw Duggan got beat by the turnbuckle or the corner post of that ring right there. After a long night, up all night flying, I have to come in here and fight this little man. He shouldn't even be in the ring. What's he doing anyway? I want to show my tape of what happens. And I want you to know, Chavo Guerrero, look at this tape real close. Take a real good look at it and see what happens to Mr. Big Guns, Tony Atlas, when he has something to do with Hacksaw Duggan. Chavo's real proud of himself. He wants to go around and show this film to everybody. I'm sure he's got it in a big safe can because he doesn't want to lose it. You know why he doesn't want to lose it? Because down in his guts, he knows that's the only time, I'm telling you, Boyd Pierce, that he's going to have Hacksaw Duggan down on that mat. That's when Hacksaw Duggan runs into the post. That's the only way.
And we'll be fair about it. We're going to show the match.
Show my match.
December the 15th, 1982, Hacksaw Jim Duggan versus Tony Atlas. Let's watch that match. This is the one he wants us to see.
Yeah.
They're going to arm wrestle Boyd Pierce, a personal challenge for pride. They're going for pride as well as the Louisiana title. And people are chanting JYD. Tony Atlas says he's down here for his friend, who Hacksaw Duggan in the gorilla suit made a fool of. Look at Atlas. He's putting Hacksaw's arm down just like he wasn't even there to show you that power. And Duggan is a man, like he says, he has no regard for his own personal safety. He's like a one-man gang. He's turned many a bar room into a parking lot as he's stomped some people around, and he's a battling dude. All-American at SMU, kicked out of the National Football League for refusing to obey the spear rule, and he's after Mr. USA Tony Atlas. This just had to happen. This has to be settled among these two men with the coveted Louisiana title at stake. Tony Atlas putting that big ham bone right up against him, showing that he's got some moves. He's got some moves, Tony Atlas. He can boogie. Exciting young athlete, and Hacksaw Duggan finding out Tony Atlas just how powerful he's headed. And Dugan's getting a little bit scattered here. And Tony is really whacking him. And Hacksaw is down on the floor. Hacksaw trying to collect these wits. Hacksaw trying to collect these wits. DiBiase out there. Matt Bourne calling for time. DiBiase with a towel, wiping the sweat off of Hacksaw, trying to
to re-gear him there. Ricky Ferrara wants to see what's in that towel. That's smart referees checking out that towel. Tony Atlas keeping out. Matt Bourne sneaking up from behind, but Tony Atlas has caught him. Atlas caught him and has headbutt him. DiBiase had a protest. Atlas pulled DiBiase into the ring. He has forced DiBiase into the ring, and Atlas is whipping him. Ricky Ferrara got caught in the way. What's Hacksaw Dugan over there sneaking in? Hacksaw Dugan sneaking in. There's Atlas. Hacksaw Dugan putting on something. Hacksaw putting on something, and he speared Tony Atlas. Hacksaw Dugan has speared Tony Atlas. Something came flying off his head. He's put it in his tights. He's got Tony Atlas down, and referee Rick Ferrara making the count. Hacksaw Dugan winning this match. The Rat Pack. The Rat Pack.
Different story there, Boyd Pierce. A different story there. Mr. All Muscles, No Brain, learns his lesson. I hope Chavo Guerrero sitting at home, make sure he's got the channel on and the volume turned up so he can see what he just got himself into.
The Rat Pack always wins, as you say, but it also appears to me that it always takes the entire Rat Pack to win it.
Wait a minute. You come out here and say that kind of stuff. The Rat Pack, we take care of each other. We keep an eye on each other. That's something that nobody else in Mid-South does.
And we'll be right back after this word from Mid-South Wrestling.
Well, boy, during the last commercial break, a lot of things happened. You can see the whole crowd is in an uproar. Lots of things happen. At the base of it all is this suitcase right here that has a lot of the paraphernalia similar to what's been happening to Mr. Wrestling 2. There's a mask that is crimson colored, the paints to do it, letters to Wrestling 2, other masks, a doll in here, Wrestling 2 tights, a bunch of stuff. We're going to go to the match. It's in the ring with ring announcer Jack Curtis. We'll try to get to the end of this after this next bout.
This event, a four-man tag team bout. One fall or 10 minutes. Introducing the Mid-South Tag Team Champions, Ted DiBiase and Matt Bourne. Their opponents in this non-title bout, Tiger Conway Jr. and Mr. Wrestling number 2.
Tag team action now. The Mid-South Tag Team Champions, Ted DiBiase and Matt Bourne, versus the terrific twosome of Mr. Wrestling 2 and Tiger Conway Jr. This is a non-title match, but that should slow down the action none at all, Bill.
Well, feelings are high, I can assure you of that. Wrestling 2 is just livid, and the altercation happened between Wrestling 2 and Mr. Olympia. And Mr. Olympia, as he went by, as I was coming out of the dressing room, said, "That man's crazy. Get him away from me." It just so happened that during the commercial break, this argument broke out. And we're going to try to see if we can get to the bottom of it. Right now, the non-title match out there, Wrestling 2 and Tiger Conway Jr. against DiBiase and Bourne. And you should see a barn burner. Look at Tiger Conway Jr. showing that he has got a lot of style. Quick movement, drop kick. Telling you non-stop action. This bout could be a main event anywhere right here on Mid-South Wrestling. You fans at home and your appreciation and inviting us into your home each week is what makes Mid-South Wrestling the #1 rated television wrestling show in the nation today. It's always a pleasure when after the rating periods are over that the executives from the different TV stations call and tell us how glad they are to have Mid-South Wrestling and what a great job it's doing for their station. And of course, I just want to pass that on to you folks because your viewing audience, the viewing audience is what gives us those ratings. And of course, that inspires Grizzly Smith to constantly have the best athletes possible here on Mid-South Wrestling. Speaking of that, in 2 weeks, midgets. Next week, the Super Destroyer will be here from Atlanta. Also, a monster of a man, King Kong Bundy. Killer Brooks, Chavo Guerrero will be here next week. And a bout with Nick Bockwinkel, the AWA champion. Tony Atlas will be here. And a match with Kamala, the Ugandan warrior, a star-studded card next week. But right here, we're in the midst of a lot of action. Mr. Olympia is scheduled to wrestle here today on Mid-South Wrestling. Wrestling 2 out there. Right now, Ted DiBiase against Tiger Conway Jr. A lot of second-generation wrestlers out there. DiBiase's father was a great Iron Mike DiBiase, was fatally injured in the ring. Of course, Tiger Conway Jr.'s father, a very successful businessman in Houston, former wrestling great. Matt Bourne's father, Tough Tony Bourne, was one of the first big main eventers that I wrestled in the first year of my career. So there's a lot of guys out there with tough upbringing, background, but like I said before, that all their dad's reputation doesn't help them. They have to earn their own reputation, and there against the man right there who has earned his reputation. He didn't ask for anybody's respect, he demanded it. He's a very private person. He's got a tremendous amount of pride, and this thing about this defamation of symbolicism of his masks and his tights has really had him just livid for several months. He's been almost paranoid in his search for who has been perpetrating these things against him. And you can see him, he's fired up out there, and Ted DiBiase has just found out what it is to face wrestling too. As you hear the crowd go, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. You can see him right there in the crowd, and you think this doesn't inspire him on. He's at a low boil all the time anyway. We just got word from Director Oil Inc. that he, during that commercial break, he had the cameras panning the area, and that he caught part of that argument between Wrestling 2 and Mr. Olympia on tape. Certainly we'll try to get Mr. Wrestling 2 down here after that match and ask him just what set him off and try to get to the bottom of this. Now Tiger Conway Jr., he wants that crowd behind him too. Matt Bourne, collar and elbow, goes over into a wrist lock, spins under it to tighten it up. Tiger Conway's going to unload on him. The referee Alfred Neely cautions him. Matt Bourne in for a quick one into the solar plexus area. Oh, showing some agility of his own, and a fine drop kick by Matt Bourne. And he caught Tiger Conway, might have surprised him. Oftentimes people will get into a guy's style and think that they know every move he's going to make, and he'll surprise them. These top pros have to go with this change of pace, keep each other off guard. And DiBiase just caught another one, and Tiger Conway is firing away, and DiBiase's mad. I don't know if DiBiase kid's having a hard time getting in the ring or even staying on the ring apron. A lot of emotion between these two teams. They had run Tiger Conway's head into DiBiase's knee, but it didn't have the desired effect for DiBiase and the two members of the Rat Pack. And of course, Dugan's around, so you never know what'll happen. With Hacksaw Dugan and the Rat Pack, they call it a pack attack. Tiger Conway really carrying the battle out there. Turnbuckle to DiBiase, but DiBiase got out of the way when Tiger came for the shoulder block. Tiger may be in a world of trouble there. It only takes one mistake in a match of this caliber, and it can cost you the whole bout. Matt Bourne trying to pick him up in a vertical suplex. Couldn't get it, but Tiger Conway muscled Matt Bourne up. And here wanting him to tag two. Listen to him holler, 2, 2, 2. And Tiger's going for the tag. He knows he's got to get the fresh man in there. DiBiase's on the rush, but Wrestler 2 got in. And 2 firing away at DiBiase. Wrestling 2, a man who just comes at you like a whole herd of cattle on a stampede. There's just no way to miss. 2 down, Bourne coming in, Neely catches him, but while Neely's distracted, Matt Bourne coming off the top rope. That should be a disqualification, but of course Neely trying to put Tiger Conway out of the ring. And now Matt Bourne and Tiger Conway are into a fight. But Wrestling 2 is hurt. Got bodies laying everywhere. Alfred Neely trying to sort it out. Now Ted DiBiase going for the fall. Looks like it's over for 2. 2 got out. Two spun out. I thought DiBiase had him after that bombs away by Matt Bourne. DiBiase trying to load that glove, and Neely staying on top of him. DiBiase trying to load that glove. Alfred Neely trying to, DiBiase went for it, but two got out of the way. He throws a knee lift with the last ounce of strength. Bourne's coming in the ring with a chair. Bourne is measuring two, but Tiger Conway came off the top. The referee is down, it's out of control. Wrestling two throwing a knee lift. He's covered Matt Bourne, but the referee's not there. Tiger Conway has helped the referee into the ring. Boy, I'm telling you, I'm out of breath and out of voice. That was a wild one, and a victory goes to Wrestling 2 and Tiger Conway Jr. And look at that crowd.
And we'll be back, Bill, with more action right after this word as you see the hands raised of Tiger Conway Jr. and Mr. Wrestling 2.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, before this non-title bout between Wrestling 2 and Tiger Conway against DiBiase and Bourne, we had told you that during the commercial break there was an altercation between Wrestling 2 and Mr. Olympia, two very unlikely people to get into it, and all was over this suitcase. And I think I'll let you start to tell us about it, because Oral Link, our director, with the cameras going, when he saw the altercation up there, he taped it, and we do have a copy of that, a VTR videotape of some of the altercation, but I think we're all a little bit in the dark.
Bill, when he was out in the ring having his match, this suitcase was lying down where he was. One of the guys happened to bump against it and it fell open. This is what I saw. Now, when he came back in the dressing room, I asked him, man to man, is this your suitcase? He says, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? I says, answer me, man, is this your suitcase, well, yes or no?
First of all, for the fans at home, there's a set of tights similar to what you wear. There's a couple of masks like yours, and this one, of course, has been doctored with paints to show a wounded mask, and there's a doll here, and
down the center of it.
This says Wrestling, what does this say here? Wrestling 2, your pillow has been ordered so you can take your long overdue rest. I know your knee has lost its power, so don't hurt yourself anymore. And 2, you're a very confused man at this point. Don't worry, you will know when it hits you. And a lot of different things in here.
Umpteen letters in here that I'm sure they're very appropriate for the man that wrote them. Let me tell you something, Bill. You know me for a long time, man. I'm a straight-up guy. I don't pull punches one way or the other with anybody. I tell it like it is, no matter who it hurts. And this, of all people, I cannot believe that Olympia is the man behind all this, but the obvious thing is that these are my masks, this is my clothes, this is the paint that he's been glittering with. Hey, well, it's like black and white. It's right here.
Let's show that altercation just a second, and again, let's try to collect our thoughts while that's going on, because although there's a preponderance of evidence right here, let's wait until, there's two sides to every story, and I think even the fans, there's maybe more to this than meets the eye. If Oral Link will show that while he's showing it, let's calm down and collect ourselves a little bit here. Well, certainly while we reviewed that, and maybe you've had time to calm down a little bit, I know just how much this has bothered you. I think I know it more than anybody because we have known each other for a long time, and you are a straight-up guy, and you've told me just how this has upset you and your whole family. But also, this is the United States. And in the United States, you know, there's two sides to every story, and I think somebody is innocent until proven guilty, and we haven't had a chance yet to question Mr. Olympia. And Mr. Olympia, if you recall, when you got injured from a situation around this same property situation with Akbar and Kamala, he's the one that volunteered and took your place with Stagger Lee. And he was forced to leave, and he hadn't even been here. And now here his second week back. It looks like you say, certainly we can see the evidence is here. But I think, you know, let's give it a time and let's wait. And what we'll do, he's scheduled to wrestle next. We'll, after his match, we'll get him out here. We'll confront him with this, and we'll hear his side of it. I think first, I would like to congratulate you both on that great victory over DiBiase and Bourne. And I understand. I certainly understand.
Well, thank you very much, Joe. I appreciate it.
Okay, we'll be back after these messages from Mid-South.
This event, 1 fall or 10 minutes. Introducing from Rome, Georgia, Marty Lundy. His opponent from somewhere in the USA, Mr. Olympia.
1 fall, 10-minute time limit match. Rome, Georgia's Marty Lundy versus Mr. Olympia as Rick Ferreira calls for the bell.
Well, you know, it's really getting thick, and of course, we're going to try to interview Mr. Olympia after this bout with Marty Lundy, and I'm sure he's very upset too, you know, because he's just come back and he's fighting for his position and Mid-South Wrestling, and it seems like maybe the cards are stacked against him. I would certainly hate to think that he would be at the bottom of all this. Snapmare. And he drives it in. Olympia always an aggressive wrestler. Of course, right now he seems a little more aggressive than usual, but I'm sure that he's a little bit upset about the events here today also, Lloyd. It's something I can understand wrestling too, and the intensity with which he competes, the way he lives his life, and somebody's invaded that life with a very sinister type mental attack, which is sometimes more devastating than the straight up and down physical attack. You know, even in World War II, when men were being physically tortured, they seemed to be able to withstand that more than the mental tortures of Korea and Vietnam. And certainly the unknown has oftentimes been proven beyond a shadow of doubt to have bigger fear factor or disconcerting factor than something everybody knows. Sleeper hold. Mr. Olympia's got the sleeper. The crowd is singing good night to Marty Lundy as Mr. Olympia makes short work of Marty Lundy, a powerful young man, and gains another victory. After this commercial break, Boyd, we'll try to talk to Mr. Olympia.
We'll be right back after this word from Mid-South Wrestling. Bill Watts has left our table and intercepted Mr. Olympia after his match. Let's go to the ring. Bill Watts and Mr. Olympia.
As you see, we have another match scheduled, but we promised you we'd talk to Mr. Olympia. And Mr. Olympia, I know you're upset about this, as you voiced to me during the commercial break, but I do have to say and state the facts. This is your suitcase.
Bill, I don't know what's going on. I've been gone. For 60 long days I've been gone, and now here this comes up. I took Wrestling 2's place.
I know that.
Out of the bottom of my heart, I took his place.
Let's just answer the question. Is this your suitcase? That's what he meant. Is this your suitcase?
Yes, that's my suitcase. Obviously somebody else has put something in it, though.
Well, there's a lot of things. You've never seen any of this paraphernalia?
I don't know how this got here. I hadn't done any of that. That's my suitcase, but I had other things in it.
Well, certainly I don't see anything that I
don't
recognize
see how the man
of yours.
can blame me for something like this, because I stuck behind JYD through thick and thin, and Wrestling 2 got hurt right here on TV, and I took his place. Out of the goodness of my heart, I had to take a vacation, 60 long days. But let me tell you something, 2, or no matter who it is, I don't back down from nobody. Well, I'm not backing up. So if 2 don't lay off me, I'm going to tell you, it's going to be trouble, because I'm not going to back up.
Well, I know that in the heat of the moment that both of you are upset, and you both got it right. he naturally, I think you could understand, under the persecution he's been under, and certainly you being falsely accused. I can understand.
I don't know what's going on.
No,
I have no idea. I've been gone. I don't know what the man's been going through, but now he's blaming me for it.
We did want to get you out here and in front of everybody ask you, and you've denied any of these in there. I don't see any of your personal belongings in here, and certainly a lot of things have happened. We saw the things Paul Orndorff pull. We saw the things Ted DiBiase. So we've seen a lot of things happen here. We've seen the things Hacksaw Dugan pull. So somebody could definitely be at the bottom of this besides you, and certainly I want to believe that, as does everybody here and everybody at home. I'd say this: let's let a week go by. Let's both calm down and let's just try to get to the bottom of it. Right now, we'll go back to Boyd Pierce.
And Jack Curtis and the 4 contestants of the tag team match are in the ring. Let's go for the introduction.
This event, one fall with TV time remaining. Introducing a 4-man tag team bout, Ron Kessler and Kelly Kaniski. Their opponents in this bout, Art Cruz and Tim Horner.
Tag team action now being introduced. One fall or TV time remaining. Kelly Kaniski and Ron Kessler, as Alfred Neely calls for the bell on one team. Across the way, Tim Horner in the ring now in the maroon tights, and his partner on the outside from Kansas, Art Cruz. Kelly Kaniski and Tim Horner representing their teams. Kaniski in the blue tights from Vancouver, British Columbia. Son of former Big Thunder World Heavyweight Champion Gene Kaniski, and now a great rising, promising wrestler in his own right, as is Tim Horner, who reaches over and tags in Art Cruz, making his first appearance in this event. Into the ropes, being broken up by Alfred Neely, but Kaniski taking advantage without a clean break. Changed it in the center of the ring now. Cruz being the aggressor, backing up now, Kelly Kaniski. Passing by his partner Ron Kessler without making the tag, so Kaniski stays in, representing his team. Only 1 minute time remaining in this team match. I'm sure we'd like to have a winner. Remember, in 2 weeks, the popular midget stars will be here. Next week, another great card on Mid-South Wrestling. The Super Destroyer from Atlanta, Georgia will be here. Hammerlock now by Tim Horner on Kelly Kaniski. Also next week, King Kong Bundy. Killer Tim Brooks will be here. Chavo Guerrero versus the AWA World Heavyweight Champion Nick Bockwinkel. Mr. USA, Tony Atlas. It all adds up to excitement we look forward to as our time is running down. Tim Horner on top of Kelly Kaniski. 1 second. Remember, it just takes 3 seconds to gain a pinfall in professional wrestling. We'll stay right on up to bell time. It doesn't take long. Once Kaniski kicking away was Tim Horner breaking it up. Body slam Horner. Now coming down with that left leg. Our time is just about gone, so until next week for our guest commentator Boyd Pierce, I'm Boyd Pierce saying goodbye for our guest commentator Bill Watts. Join us next week on Mid-South Wrestling Television Network. Thank you for watching.